Skyblock update. Let's go. Hypixel just released the Reforge update, which is the update where they released all the new Reforges which are going to be used for dungeons. I just spent 2 hours, I kid you not, 2 hours, going through all of the new Reforges and picking out the best ones for each class. A couple disclaimers first of all, if the audio seems a little awkward, it's because we have the carpet installers coming tomorrow because we're getting a new carpet for the upstairs. So that means it's a complete mess. I have stuff all over my room, all of my shelves are empty, and there's not as much on the walls, which means that it will echo a little bit more. At least, I think. I don't know. They did add Reforged stones, but I'm not going to be able to get my hands on all of those, and I'm not entirely sure what they do yet, but Reforged stones might be for another video. I made all of these calculations based on the fact that you have legendary armor, a legendary sword, and a legendary bow. They should also translate over fairly well to their new mythic rarity, but seeing as there's no mythic items in the game right now, I'm just going to stick to legendary. I did do all the different rarities of talismans though. And lastly, for classes that deal damage, we are going to be going for 75 crit chance. That way you can use a critical 4 potion and get 100% crit chance. Before we go over the best Reforges for all the classes, we're going to go ahead and go over all the new features. As you can see, there was some changes to critical chance. Basically, the base critical chance was buffed from 20% to 30%, and now every combat level only gives 0.5% critical chance instead of 1%. Attack speed now actually works, so if you have 100% attack speed, you'll attack monsters twice as fast. Another big change is that abilities now actually deal more damage based on your intelligence. So right now I have 140 base intelligence, which means that my abilities that I use, like with my sword that requires mana, would now deal plus 140% damage. So crystal armor will actually be really overpowered now. As you can see, they introduced the Reforged Anvil, which is crafted with 4 stacks of enchanted obsidian and 3 stacks of enchanted iron. Basically, this lets you reforge with Reforged stones. As I mentioned before, I will not be going over Reforged stones this video. This is probably my favorite change of all time. You can now reforge the entire accessory bag at the exact same time. I just reforged all of my accessories to the Reforge that I wanted, and it took me probably 3 minutes. And last but not least, inside of the mountain, there is finally a portal that goes to the dungeon hub. Oh my god. Look at this place. What? You know what? I already filmed my intro, but I'm going to redo it with this background. Okay, that's out of the way now. Now, I'm not going to go over all of these new NPCs yet. I'm sure I'll go over them at some point. But it appears that they have a bunch of new items. I really like the looks of this potion, though. I think the reason they have this potion is because they're bringing back the potion limit for dungeons, which makes sense, but at the same time, I've really enjoyed not having the potion limit. So now that I've gone over all the new locations and most of the new items except for the new dungeon items, I will go over the best Reforges for all the new classes. Remember, this list is probably not perfect, and I'm sure someone will make improvements to it in the future, but based on the information I found in the patch notes, this seems to be the very best combination. So in the Skyblock patch notes for the 7.11 Reforge update, you can go down and there's a table for the stats of all the new Reforges. Feel free to go to this table at any time and look over the Reforges for yourself. So for the Mage class for dungeons, I would recommend Wise Armor. For a full set of legendary armor with Wise, you would get 500 intelligence, 60 health, and 8 speed. I'm telling you, 8 speed is going to be game-breaking for dungeons. I was being sarcastic. For the bow, you want to get Rapid for 10 strength and 75 crit damage, and the reason you would have Rapid over Rich is because it gives a lot more strength and crit damage, and Rich also doesn't give a ridiculous amount of intelligence. I mean, 50 is still quite a bit, but you're also not casting spells while your bow is in your hands. The sword is a tough choice. You can get Heroic for plus 40 strength, plus 5% attack speed, and remember, attack speed actually makes a difference now, and 100 intelligence, which is actually quite a bit. But the thing is, if you get Heroic, your sword isn't going to deal nearly as much damage. Personally, I would go for Epic, but if you're going to be a true mage, Heroic is probably the way to go. With Epic, you get 40 strength, 35 crit damage, and 10 attack speed. And finally, all of your talismans should probably be demonic. It gives the second most intelligence, but unlike Bizarre, it does not remove any crit damage. If you don't care about crit damage, Bazaar gives you like +1 intelligence per accessory, so it's nothing crazy, and you do lose that crit damage, which is important. So these Reforges apply to the tank class and also the healer class. And the reason I think these Reforges would go well with the healer class is because the healer isn't really designed to deal a lot of damage, and the healer class is a lot more useful to your team if you're actually on the field for a longer amount of time. Because as no one has ever said, a dead healer is a bad healer. So there are 2 armor Reforges that might be good for tank and healer. Heavy gives you a total of 320 defense, -4 walk speed, which again, will really negatively impact your dungeons experience. It won't. But something that will actually impact your dungeons experience is going to be crit damage. You're going to lose 20 if you use heavy. It's not the end of the world, but if you're going to do damage while you're a tank, it's not the best option. The second that you could choose is going to be 2 armor pieces with clean. So you get 40 defense, 40 health, but you also get 20% crit chance. You also want to reforge your other 2 armor pieces to Titanic for a bonus 70 defense and a bonus 70 health, bringing you to a total of 110 defense, 110 health, and 20 crit chance. So for the sword, I've noticed that Epic is the best, and you get 40 strength, 35 crit damage, and you also get 10% attack speed. Spicy is also good for the sword, but it tends to really lean towards the crit damage section with 80 crit damage versus 10 strength. For the bow, you want Rapid. Rapid easily gives you the most value. You could go for Unreal, but overall I think Rapid is much better because you're only getting 15 more strength compared to losing 25 crit damage. So the Talisman Reforges for tank/healer are interesting, but I will explain why I chose what I did. If you want to deal damage and you don't have a high combat level and you need a little bit more crit chance, reforge as many of your common accessories as you need to unpleasant so that you get 1% crit chance per. Be sure you stop at 75% crit chance because anything more and you'll be wasting damage. So for common, I think simple is actually a really good reforge. You get +1 of most stats. +1 strength, +1 defense, +1 walk speed, +1 health, +1 crit damage, and +1 intelligence. The intelligence and walk speed doesn't really make a difference for the tank and healer class, but the important thing is that you get a really good balance between getting a little bit of health and defense and a little bit of strength and crit damage. If you don't care about damage though, go ahead and reforge half of your common accessories to pleasant and half of them to shiny. This will give you an equal balance of defense and health. This is probably the weirdest accessory that I have chosen. Now I will explain myself. As you can see, if you reforge your uncommon accessories to pleasant or vivid, you get 5 defense or 5 health. So to me, that equals 5 points. I know, it's a little weird, but that's just how my brain works. So pleasant and shiny are each 5-point reforges. Now, if we look at strange, you can see that we get 1 strength, which to me is +1 point, 3 defense, so 4 points, 2 health, so we're already at 6 points, and 2 crit damage, which is 8 points. Plus you get 2 attack speed, which won't make a huge difference, but I mean, I guess it will, I don't know. So you will get the same amount of defense and health combined, but you also get a little bit of strength, a little bit of crit damage, and if it makes a difference, a little bit of attack speed. So strange is probably the way to go for uncommon accessories. For rare accessories, I recommend itchy, unless you want more defense or health, in which I recommend keen. And epic and legendary, I recommend strong, or again, if you're going for defense and health, keen. And finally, we have the archer, and I have no idea if I'm pronouncing this right, the Berserk class. If I mess that up, let me know the correct pronunciation in the comments. So I put these 2 classes together because they're both about maximizing damage. The only difference is probably going to be the pet that you use, but again, I'm only going over reforges in this video, not items. For armor, I recommend reforging all of your armor to fierce, and you will get 40 strength, 24 crit chance, and 72 crit damage. Fierce easily gives you the most damage. And you get 24 crit chance, which is quite a bit. Unless you're combat level 42 or higher, you are going to need to get some more crit chance. Make sure you reforge all of your common accessories to unpleasant until you have 75 crit chance. Because again, I'm confusing myself. You can get 25% crit chance from tier 4 critical potions. For the sword, I definitely recommend the Epic Reforge as it gives you 40 strength, 35 crit damage, and 10% attack speed. Spicy gives you more overall value, but gives you way more crit damage than strength, which actually in the end will lower your damage. The only time I recommend using Spicy is if you have strong dragon armor or an armor set that gives you a lot of strength, and this is because you start with a really high strength and you will need more crit damage to make up for that. For the bow, I recommend Rapid. Unreal is also a viable option. I really recommend Rapid though because it's a little bit more of an imbalance between strength and crit damage, but in the end we total 85 strength and crit damage combined versus 75 crit damage and strength combined combined for Unreal. And finally, for the accessories, I recommend Superior for common and uncommon. As you can see, it's a perfect balance between strength and crit damage for common. And again, it's almost a perfect balance between strength and crit damage for uncommon. For both rare and epic talismans, I recommend Forceful and Hurtful. If you have a lot more crit damage than strength, I recommend Forceful. And if you have a lot more strength than crit damage, I recommend Hurtful. And if you already have a decent balance, I recommend a mix between the two. As you can see, they both give a lot of strength and crit damage, but literally in the exact same balance. And finally, for legendary, I recommend Strong. As you can see, you get a perfect balance between strength and crit damage, but my primary difference here and why I didn't go with Forceful or Hurtful is because you total 16 strength and crit damage combined versus 15 strength or 15 crit damage. Wow. That was a lot to take in. I'm gonna count this video as Friday's upload, and the reason for that is that this video took me an absurd amount of effort. I've been working nonstop since this update came out for over 4 hours, and I still have to edit this video. I really hope this video has been helpful to you in some way. If it has, please consider subscribing. It takes 3 seconds and it really helps me out. Seriously, in the time I spent asking you to subscribe, you already could have subscribed. Do it. Sorry, that was a little bit mean. The support I've gotten in the last 2 months has been unbelievable. And the support I've gotten in the last 2 days, I just can't even believe it. Yesterday, we gained 104 subscribers. As of recording this, we have almost 180 subscribers. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And that is all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye. Apparently Dungeons is already in the game. Just release it.